Are we good?
Yep.
Well, I'm opening the budget hearing and I am gonna turn it over to Mr. Malone at this point.
Okay, so budget cycle pretty normal. Some of you guys know, departments sent in their requests. They went through the requests, and then after they went through the requests, they sent them to us. We put it in the can and got it ready, and then met with the county administrator, Duke, talked to the clerk and the treasurer on a couple items, and come up with a proposal for you to look at today. So we did go through mainly with road and bridge, but some other ones about the key is carrying, if we carry cash over, we lower the levy. So we looked at, well, I call them the middle column. It's really the 26 year, the year you're in, to see if they were going to spend all their budget. We looked at where they were through the end of June, percentage wise on budgets. We went through and we kind of made a few adjustments of what they thought was going to happen in 26 to maximize the cash carryover to 27 to help with the levy. Everybody understand that? So we went ahead, go ahead and pull it. This is what you would report currently, the way we got it for you guys to talk about today. You'd be levying 82.175 mills. The revenue neutral rate was calculated by the state at 79, so you're about 3 mills over revenue neutral rate. If you agreed on all this, you would be levying $9.4 million of tax. Last year you levied 9.24 million, so you're up about, well, let's say 400,000, which is about 3.5 mills. Same thing as yours. Mill levy that will anticipate into your revenue neutral rate. So that's that, which is pretty much inflation. We also went through and made sure up on your mill side, column J, some of the, if you look at noxious weed, has to levy 1.5 mils to get your chemical rates when you go to buy chemicals. So we adjusted to make sure it was at 1.5. Service to the elderly is a 1 mil. Employee, let's see, special road and bridge has to be 2 mil. That's even so you can get grants and stuff. I mean, so we have to get it to those things. The Historical Society, several years ago, you guys voted, or you didn't. The commission several years ago voted to levy 0.5 mil. So we got it to where you're levying 0.5 mil.
We're not levying 0.5 mil. They want to change that.
Oh. You can go up to 0.5 mil. Currently, we're at, you're levying 0.346 of a mil, a little under 0.5 mil. And then the hospital board has a that was by vote 5.9, or up to 5.9 mils. So we got it at the 5.9. I don't know. One question I didn't ask the administrator on the hospital. Just a thought I had over the weekend, that bond's paid. And so I don't know if that mainly is levying that to pay that bond off, which you paid that off last year, 24 paid it off. So I don't know, that's something for you guys to talk about. I don't know if that's still needs to be there. And then
I doubt they're gonna turn that down.
I guess that's where you're that with what we went through with the requests after you guys looked at their requests and gave them to us, and then we went through and tried to maximize cash carryover. That's what we come up with for today, is go down a little bit. 82.175 mils, you would have $18 million of authority, and you'd levy $9,400,000 of tax. So you're up. So now you guys tell us where you're going. The biggest budgets are general road and bridge, general course, encompasses the, many of the departments: sheriff, treasurer, clerk, deeds, courthouse. So when we looked at it on Friday, it was mainly looking at the two big, after we got those meals set, and that's where we made a couple of adjustments and come up with that. We did have the road and bridge supervisor in. He was in my office Friday, and we went through his. You're gonna have to replace the tanks, I understand, out there and come from underground to above ground, which is anticipated, what, $700,000 or $800,000?
$780,000.
So I think you budgeted for that in the 26 budget, but it doesn't look like you're gonna get that done. So we were able to save, carry over some cash there in the road fund to knock the overall levy down. And he went through it with Duke and I and Susan on Friday, and he thought he would be good where we had him. And we can pull that up if you want to see it.
The tank has to be replaced in the next 2 years.
So,
FYI.
and it's levied again for 27.
And I guess if you could, because I can't do a very good job of it, but if you could explain more in detail, maybe the importance, if we use all of our carryover, what's gonna happen?
Well, and Alan, you'll remember this. Several years ago, I'm talking 10, 15 years ago, we had cash. And there was a push by the electorate to lower taxes. So the commissioners did that. And when they do that, you use up cash reserves to keep the levy down. And I would caution you, when they was doing it, I says, well, that's okay, but if you keep doing that several years, you're gonna run out of cash. And so you're gonna have to levy somewhere down the road. So, but for several years, we used up reserve cash to keep the levy down. Well, you're in a point now where you don't have that much reserve cash going forward. So you start the budget with beginning cash, anticipated revenues, anticipated expenses, and then whatever's the difference, cash plus revenues less anticipated expenses, that's what you levy to fund that budget. So you're just kind of in a situation where it's important to carry as much cash as you can. I mean, it's a management thing in the year you're in on spending, so you have cash to carry over to keep your mill levy down.
And if we use in the next 2 to 3 years, we use all of our cash reserves, then the mill is gonna skyrocket because there is no cash
We're
reserves
gonna have
left.
cash plus anticipated revenues to fund.
We've been at 15 bills that year.
Yeah,
We've got money.
well, there was a year where we did go up, I don't remember what year,
I think
but we had to
it's
go up
13 or 14.
13 or 14 tax or levy.
But oil valuation went from 100 down.
So in this year too, you had a $500,000 drop in valuation. So if you're going along using reserves and then you have a drop in valuation, you're gonna get yourself into a pinch.
How much is in reserve right now?
Reserve in the general fund or?
Yeah.
Full general fund up,
I can't see it.
I'll tell you.
Thank you.
So in the general fund, we've been carried over into 25 about 2.1 million.
Okay.
Carried into 26 about 2.3 million. So that tells me in 25 did a good job of controlling expenses and we carried some cash over. But you can see into the 27 budget with the requests, that's dropping about $600,000. So that's where I'm cautioning
Sure.
going forward. If we keep doing that, you're gonna have to,
So
somebody's gonna have to levy.
That's the general. What about the road and bridge?
Road and bridge, next one.
Let's just go through each line item by line item and
Okay, so go back to,
let's just start it at the top and
so,
go down.
so when you're looking at these, of course, the first column, and Duke gets mad at me, but I say column 1, column 2, column 3.
Yeah.
That's how I do it. But, so column 1 is 25. So them are audited numbers. Those numbers came from the preliminary audit of your auditors. And they group things together. We tried to bust them out a little bit over here to give you a little more detail. And I'm not saying anything bad about the auditors, because when I audited, I did the same thing, but I always have the detail in my file. So anyway, we tried to do that. So 25 is pretty well set. Nothing we can do. The main thing we want out of the first column is what that carryover is going up to 26, and that's what we got. So then in 26, there's budgeted or anticipated ad valorem tax coming into general of 2.6 million. Motor vehicles going down the line to 200,000. You can see in there. That's what we think is coming in. Mineral production, that's your severance tax that you get back. So we kind of hold that the same. But if you look at the middle column, that's again the year we're in. This is what we're operating with, and then third column is what we're trying to approve today or whatever. Hospital sales tax, we have to put that in the general fund budget, but whatever comes in on that, there's a like expense going out. So it doesn't affect the levy at all. You're not levying tax. That sales tax is an in and out. Same way with the use tax. Which one do you want me to look at? Compensated.
Those are the same way the compensated
Compensated use
use tax.
tax, local sales tax. Collections is fees from the different offices. Could be register deeds, could be wherever. Go on down a little bit. And then use of money, they had some delinquent tax and interest on taxes. So that's when people pay late. That's where they're coming up with that 306. We kind of broke it out, moved the taxes up where they should be. And then 150, that's about what you make. It says 194. We talked about it. We wanted to put something in there for 26. So we're anticipating 150,000 of interest in 26 and 27. And we might be a little light there. I mean, it might be more, but that is another vehicle to, get your cash up. So that's pretty much all the general income there. So you can go to the detail. Then we start breaking down the different departments. So the first one there is commissioners. They've cut the commissioner's salary. You can see in 95, they spent 97,000. This is primarily just wages. If they're on health insurance, that's in employee benefits. So this is primarily wages. So they spent 97. 26, they got 100,600 of authority if they choose to spend it. And they did drop that this year to 90. So they cut 10,000. So we're around 10,000 out of, not quite 10, out of their clerk. She spent 114,000 in 25. She's got 132,000. This is on the salary. I'll just go down to the total line if they have questions about it. So her authority was 120,000, and she spent 120,000 in 25. She has 150,000 of authority in 26 and 27. So her budget didn't change any. And what you see up above is, most of it's salaries, and then contractual and commodities is office, and then she had budgeted in there some 10,000. But maybe Schlatten might need computers or something, but they've cut that down.
So does the salary include their health insurance, or is
No.
that just?
No, that's just
extra.
gross salary. The health insurance and payroll taxes are in employee benefits fund.
Okay.
Treasurer, she had 108. She spent 186,000. She's got 182,000 of authority this year, and Actually, they cut hers down to 129,000 for next year.
And that was
Why it went down, you're gonna have to ask.
Well, there was a law passed that they could actually charge another fee in-house.
County attorney, he spent 123,000, he's got 145,000. He or she of this year. And his budget went to 167,000. And you'll have to ask, I don't know, that's just what we had.
It's because we're getting a new county attorney.
Okay. Contractual county counselor, now that's if the county attorney has a conflict. You have to levy in or have some authority if there's a conflict, and they have to bring in a independent attorney, so they didn't spend any on a county counselor in 925. They have authority to spend 10, and then they went to 20 this year.
Do the commissioners have any questions on the budgets that we went through so far?
I just jump in if I'm moving too fast. Juvenile care, that's your, if you have to send a kid off to Waukene or wherever they go now. But in 25, it costs you $5,400. And they budgeted $5,000 for each of the next 2 years. Coroner, they spent $24,000 for the coroner death, whatever you guys can call it. Around 25 for the next 2 years. And then there's Register of Deeds budget. She spent 102,000. She's got authority to spend 105 this year, and she went up a little bit to 115. This is all in the general fund. So here's sheriff. Sheriff spent almost 1.4 million. He's got authority to spend 1.6, and in 27 they're saying 1.7. And I think you went back to his
Back in 26.
26 request
Yep.
for 27. So the 27 request was probably higher, but they lowered it. Unified Court spent 99. They get 104 authority this year, 115 next year.
Yes, I got a question for Dan. There's nothing we can do about unified court.
You cut their budget, but I mean,
The
they still have expenses too that they've got to fulfill also, so. I don't know what we pay to run county, we don't pay the salaries for them, but we pay to run run their office.
Right.
Which is mailings, it's computers, it's, jurors, all that stuff.
County courthouse spent almost 800,000. They got 835,000 authority this year, and she's dropped that for 27 down to 793.5. So I think the administrator looked at what they spent in 25 and thinking that they can run pretty close in 27, so she dropped that some. Now here's payroll, public service. This is kind of courthouse, like they kind of go together, but spent 136. They got authority to spend 174 this year, and they've dropped that down to 170 for 27. Soil conservation, they put in a request, and they fund their request. So it was 31.5, and evidently they put in another 3,500 for 27.
What's soil conservation?
That's their share. I mean, it's you guys can probably explain it better, but that's K-State or the
Oh, the extension office.
USDA.
US.
USDA.
Yeah.
Soil conservation is used. No, that's
So
what,
we levy. They put in, I don't know, do you have the request, Stephanie?
They, yeah, they got funded fully and they come in early and they were already.
Oh, then I see that.
So they didn't change theirs at all.
I don't know what their breakdown was.
You have to come in,
Mm-hmm.
it's a mandated thing? Okay.
Good,
I'm good.
okay,
I just
okay.
didn't understand why we had that in
GIS mapping, that's the mapping department, spent 90,000. We've got 100,000 this year, a little over, and about the same. Emergency preparedness. I think is that through the sheriff now?
Yeah,
So
separate
this is
line
kinda-
item, but
It's we used to have well, Keith used to be here, but he's not here. The sheriff does it now, but that's expenditure anticipated for 58,000 and 25 and 66,000 of authority, and they dropped it down a little bit, 65,000 of authority for 27. We cut that a little bit. Zoning, this is just for the zoning board. You must be gonna have to do, or you're gonna have to do a flyover again here pretty soon or something. For that 19,000, I don't know.
That's what we fund him at
Yeah.
every year.
Okay, 911, this is, I called it, what do I call this? This is emergency telephone.
no,
No, this
this
is
is 911.
This is 911. So this is your expenses to run the 911 office. They got it all grouped. The auditors did total expenses for 468,000. Got 500,000 of authority this year, and then 453,000. We need to break that out a little bit.
She didn't have a breakout one.
Most of that salary, or the county share, this would be the county share to run 911. So most of it's salaries, some of it's,
Well, and that's the reason the drop, that's anticipation of a new contract, hasn't been signed yet. But,
so that might be one you wanna look at.
well, I mean, it's either gonna be there or it's gonna go up.
Yeah, well, if it
It
goes
ain't
up,
going down.
and it's in general, so I mean, as long as the general has cash, so. Road improvements, that's typically, it's called the road improvement fund. It's the commissioner's road improvement. If something comes up, you can see they didn't spend anything in 95 or 25. They got 187,000 of authority, and they raised it to about 200,000 this year.
Before you go on, I guess I'm on.
You might want to, I mean, you got a lot of bridges that need a lot of
Right.
work. Go ahead, Duke, you know them.
Well, the question we have before, I see Mr. Cottle here is the CEO of the hospital. They asked, the bond is paid off for the hospital.
That's true.
So do you still need the 5.9 mils?
We would like it, our property insurance deductible went from the standard 150 to 2 or 3%, depending on what it does this year, so that would be way more than what we get from the bills. That would help if there was another storm that did the damage like it did now with $3 million worth of damage.
And I guess that's a question for Dan. The actual number is voted on by the hospital board, not the elected board. That's not,
How about you?
we have no control over that one. Okay, I'm done.
So that road improvement's kind of
An emergency fund.
emergency if something goes, bridge gets washed out, whatever. Sales tax in and out, that's what I talked about when we talked about revenue. Most of that comes in and goes out to the cities, to the hospital. County does keep a little bit, but most of it's in and out.
I think out of the 2% sales tax that's levied in Russell County, we get a quarter of a mil.
Quarter of a percent.
A percent, not a mil, yeah, a percent.
Capital improvements, actually, we don't have anything in there for this year, for 26, so it moved 300,000 last year in 25. And we put in that 360 into capital improvements. It's kind of an inflation adjustment. So that's, you guys can talk about that. I mean, inflation's running at about 4%, so we kind of calculated that in. And that factors into that meal that I showed you earlier. Economic development, that's sales tax and use tax. They had 14,000 in their audit. I don't know what that was for sure.
It was just other differences, and then there must have been a difference in the cash audits when you changed something.
Okay, any questions on, or do you want to talk about anything in general?
You guys got any questions? I've seen all these 47 times. You guys got any questions?
I don't,
No.
Okay, road and bridge. Okay, so road and bridge, we're anticipating them carrying over 900,000 in, come in, or they carried over 900,000 into 26. We're anticipating them carrying over 500,000 into 27. That's their that's the where they get their revenue. Motor vehicle, ad valorem. And that special city county highway, that's comes from the state. That you get some money from the state. So they had 352,000 last year. Anticipating around 394 in the next couple of years. May get all that, may not. Collections, that's when they do work for townships. That had 72, we put in about 60. You didn't think they'd do as much this year, or they haven't. So we kind of estimated in there. Reimbursements, that's, you know, if they sell culverts or whatever to whoever. Mainly the townships. Salt Creek Tower Road, we broke that out. We haven't in the past, but they had it broke out on the audit, or we were able to break it out on the audit. So basically, they get some rent from Next Tech for some tower stuff. Now the state of Kansas last year, they got a pretty good reimbursement. He's not anticipating getting that this year. That had to do with the bridge. Which one was it?
Down by Millburger.
Work that they got. They did some work and then the state reimbursed them. Likewise, in that federal fund exchange, same thing. He thinks he'll get about 60,000 this year, but the contracts or whatever, he didn't have any way to tell what he'd get in 27 at this point. So that's where we come up with that number. And again, he was in, Justin was in, so we kind of went through this. So let's go to the expenses. So he spent 800,000 in salaries, and I'll go down to the total. So he spent 2.4 million last year. He had 2.8 million of authority, so he was under budget. And then that gave us that 900,000 cash carryover. So we're anticipating that he's going to spend about 2.2 just under 2.5 million and carry over $500,000 this year. A lot of the expense out there is fuel, of course, and aggregate. Two big expenditures he has that, you can see asphalt, that's what he spent in, is that 25, yeah. So he bought some aggregate or something, $500,000, so of that 900,000 that's in commodities, $500,000 of that went to aggregate, and then diesel and gas and repairs, them are the big ones. And then the contractual, we broke out to the side so you could see it is, when they, utilities, the different things that are in contractual. I call it office, but whatever you want to call it. So hopefully he can keep his spending down to where we thought, and he gets to carry that $500,000 over. He's still, now, we didn't change his authority. If he doesn't change the authority, you have to change the budget. So Road and Bridge still has the authority to spend $3 million if they have to. But after going through it with him Friday, he thought he'd be around 2.4, about where he was last year. That's his goal. And then in 27, he's got authority of $3,319,000, which, you still got the tanks out there. I mean, yeah, we're carrying a little cash over, but that's going to be a big expense. And then, like I said, you got all those bridges that are.
And we've got the pipes that are rotting out underneath that we're gonna have to
So,
In the shop itself.
so there's some anticipated expense in there.
The commissioners, any questions on that? On Road and Bridge?
Do not. Alan, you're all right with that one?
Are those numbers firm on that tank?
Well, that's the one bid we got, or one quote we got, so, it's gonna be in that ballpark.
And when you guys understand that tanks, I mean, they're underground now, they're leaking, we gotta pull them out and put them above ground. So
Or they're not leaking yet, but they're close.
But they've only spent so far this year, so we're halfway through the year, they've only spent 36%. But
that's why we called him, when I seen that they're only at 36.
But they got the big ones coming up for the chip seal, so that's for the,
Well, and he figured that in.
for the.
I mean, when we did Friday,
Right, when you do your,
hopefully we got enough in there. Of course, the problem you got with that is if it starts snowing the end of October and you got snow to move, then
remember, they can use that carryover up real quick.
But like we talked on them tanks, I mean, could he not fill at the co-op or somewhere, do a card control system? I mean, for the graders, it'd be in handy, have one tank for off-road fuel,
Right,
but I mean,
yeah, and that's something we can talk about, yeah, that's,
Be cheaper than 700,000.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if that's just one
I
tank,
mean, they
whatever.
I mean, if they're in Dorrance, they could fill at Dorrance, if they're in Bunker Hill, they could fill there, if they're in Russell, Gorham, wherever.
Cause they can contract fuel at
Well, like Lucas, they filled at Lucas already. Fairport up there, they come into Gorham fuel
Yeah.
already. That's
yes.
happened to be a
Yeah,
shop.
that's something we can definitely look at.
I mean, we could get by.
but if you think you're gonna have to do the tanks or whatever, you gotta give yourself the authority.
Right, and we still need to get the tanks out of the ground. I mean, we're gonna have expense of getting the tanks out of the ground regardless
And
of.
hopefully we got no contamination.
Right, yeah, and if we got
I don't
contamination,
suppose they let you dig them out yourself.
Oh, I think you can dig them up yourself, but
Mhm.
the state's gonna have to be here probably and inspect
Soil
all the dirt,
samples
every
and
sample
all
that's
that.
out there.
They'll be
Have to
pulling
be
soil
inspected.
samples.
Make sure there ain't no contamination.
so part of that is gonna, part of that 780,000 is removing the old tanks, all of that, so we're
Well,
still
then you
gonna have.
remediation if you do.
Right, so we're still gonna have some of that expense regardless of whether we put in the tanks or not.
So my thought, I mean, it's up to you guys, but my thought was you get it in there to get the authority, but that's why we kind of looked at his 26 to see if we could
Right.
have more cash carry over to lower the levy, at least it's not levy for it all.
Right.
Right, I think
That's what we're doing.
we need to leave that in there, because we don't know what's gonna happen yet.
Special bridge. Now what you're gonna start seeing here is you're gonna see two funds on a page, so this, you can see the whole thing. The two prior are so big that their income extends, but these will have it right here, so. I'll do it down a little bit. So, special bridge spent 132,000 last year. You've got those bridges that, Duke knows how many there are, 104.
There's 193 bridges. Well, there's somewhere between 193 and 204. I think some of them on the state are actually low water bridges now, and the state still has them. But we have 193 bridges, and out of that, we have right now 9 that are washed out, and a lot of them, and Jason's looked at some of them underneath. That half tanks are going to go in some of the structures. But just of the 9 worst ones at this point, we're looking close to $1 million. Some of them are wing walls, some of them aren't that much, some of them are total replacement. So we're looking at about $1 million to fix those 9 bridges. Or we're going to have to start looking at closing roads, but one of them, you'd have a 30-mile detour if you closed it. So that's not gonna be good.
25, they carried over 488,000. And 26, if you have to spend, well, you're still having to transfer out of this to Hell Creek. That's that 150. So we're anticipating him spending Commissioner spending about 385,000 this year, which would carry over 359,000 to 27. And Duke told you $1 million of bridges. I mean, obviously you're not gonna fix them all in 1 year, but you gotta get ready for it. So you gotta get ready for it. So gave them budget authority for 27 of about 435,000. So the noxious weed. Now noxious weed, if you remember on that first, when we started, we got to levy 1.5 mils. And the reason you got to do that is you got to levy that so you get the break on the chemicals that they buy. So last year they spent 409,000, carried over 21. We're anticipating them spend about 420 this year, carrying over 9. So we gave them authority to spend 363. And levying the 171,636 to get to the 1.5 mils. So, I mean, I don't know. Alan, you're more in tune to road and bridge and noxious weed. What do you think?
Jason, you had some thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I think that whole department's too big for what we get out of it. I honestly think. I mean, and I realize if you went to 1.5 mils from what they're at now wouldn't be a decision you'd want to make overnight.
Well, 1.5 mils, I think you'd have 1 employee.
Yeah,
And
whatever your chemical you're going to sell is, because if you go below 1.5, then you don't get your full reimbursement from the state.
right. And Christie on which is the 150,000 in revenue that they get off chemical. That go back in their fund, or does that go in general?
That goes into their fund.
What's that collections up there? They collected 143 in 25. You're anticipating 200,000 this year, and about 170 next year.
And what did we levy for them at 25?
Levied, you let it go up a little bit. Well, in 26, you levied 172.
Until-
20,
For a $400,000 budget.
yeah. So a lot of it comes in and they collect more in collections. Than they
So
do.
we're not levying $400,000 for,
No, you're not.
and that levy, where was it again? I'm getting old. I lost it. That's 1.5 mils what we levied for noxious weed. And then the rest of their budget was,
Well, and the levy for the last 25, 26, and 20, it's always been 1.5 mils. I mean, just so you get that state reimbursement. So
that's why we're burning.
depending on what your
Well, and that's
valuation
why we're burning up the cash, because
Yeah.
if you look at their cash carryover
Yeah.
from 20 to now, it's just,
is. They brought in 100.
it's not a 45, but it's
But this 26, didn't we roll some over into a building fund or?
40,000, yeah, for
That
26 and 27.
that capital outlay.
Did we do? So we done $314.25.
I mean,
And then you had the 50,000.
Then we put 50.
So the 314 must have been
So we done
a piece of
50,000,
equipment or
314.
something. And then you're budgeting to do 40,000 in 26 and 27.
Because we're gonna have to do something with that building, whether it goes to Road and Bridge or whether we fix that. But my thought on that one, I hate to say this because we're gonna try to sell it, but it's not in the best of condition. And the secretary has to have a blanket on her legs and a heater by the desk just to keep her freeze to death in the wintertime. So we're better off building a building at Road and Bridge and sell that one to get it back on the tax roll. And I guess the question at this point we need to look at it is, what size of building do we need? And the size of the building will determine how much chemical. And the statute is very, depends who reads it. You know, whether we only bought $20,000 worth of chemical for the public and say that's it. And then other people say, no, you have to provide for the public. So
Jim, right now, well, all along, we've been budgeting 1.5 mils just across the board.
Ever
Everything else
since I've been helping with the
is
levy,
cash
it's
in,
always
cash
been-
out from the state.
It was the 1.5 mils you're levying in the past, and the way I always looked at it, it basically covers your chemical costs. And then you use some of it, and you sell some of it.
Right.
but from the looks of the carryover, do we need to levy?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because you're going down.
Right here.
Your cash is declining.
Because I mean, what did we carry over 21,000 and we carried over 9 and we're carrying over 9,000?
When you carried 105 into 25, and then you carried over 21 to 26, and we're anticipating you only carrying 9,000 over to 27.
So if you look at that, we're gonna have
If you
to,
spent that whole.
right. We're gonna have to levy another 13,000 more next year. Not right, or,
That's if you keep the department the same size
Right.
as it is now.
So the salary that they spent 156, we said 150, 160. That's the secretary and how many people working there?
3.
Three salaries.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Does this include not doing the state contract next year?
I don't think it is. I don't think.
No, because we don't
we don't know the details enough to, I didn't feel comfortable putting it in there, sorry.
So if it doesn't include the state contract, isn't that a position that could be eliminated?
Yeah, we talked about
It's a
that.
part-time
Yeah, it's
position,
a
yeah.
part-time position.
I thought salaries stayed the same. Salaries went up. So if you got rid of that part-time position, shouldn't salaries go down?
Well, we just haven't made that determination yet, so I wanna make sure we're being safe.
What line, where's, oh, there's salaries. And if you give the maximum raise, and I don't know what they're gonna give, but if that was good, I mean, that's $6,000 increase in salary right there. For three employees. So any thoughts on what we wanna do on this one?
A lot of unknowns. We really don't know the state contract yet. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns as far as cash carryover goes. If we're looking at building a new building, I think as we all know, $9,000 ain't gonna go very far. It ain't gonna pay for the concrete in one bay in the building. So I think
Well, what I think,
And it'd be 9,000 if they spent all that.
Sure,
Right.
sure.
Budget, I mean,
Mhm.
may not.
I mean, even if we carry over 25,000.
30.
You got 50 going to the building, you
Percent.
got 40 going this year.
Mhm.
30.18.
Yeah, but it's, and we haven't seen prices yet, but I'm guessing it's gonna be, well, we don't know what it'll be. Depends what size of building you build. I mean,
Right,
it could
that's the
easily
question.
be, it could easily be 300,000.
Well,
For a
and you need a
building.
containment tank, there's different, just
Well,
because of
that's
the
the thing.
chemicals you need, there's just different, it's not just a floor and 4 walls of roof.
No, not at all.
Didn't they want bays to keep all of their equipment inside? Heated
Trucks
or-
can't Heated and
insulated, yeah.
You gotta have drainage for if the trucks leak, that's gotta go into a special containment tank. I mean, there's a lot of unknowns if we do a building. I mean, it could be a $300,000 or $400,000 project, and 90,000 is a start, but it's,
well, and where we set it depends on you gotta run the utilities, and, I
Mhm.
mean,
there's a lot of unknowns we don't know yet.
Which would be less expensive than rewiring and doing the old building, because we've been grandfathered in for so many things. So to rewire it and get it to where there's not holes in the walls would likely cost, the rewiring quote was over $100,000.
and I don't know, you probably get 60, 80,000 out of them buildings maybe. Yeah, that would go to,
That's another thing. The lot's worth way more than the building.
and then it goes back on the tax roll. No, we don't, well, we don't,
We didn't buy that extra.
To the
but we own
north,
the lot
no.
that it's sitting on.
The middle part, not the grass part,
Right, we don't own that.
the grass
so
part.
No.
do we
They just
wanna
got
leave
hurt.
this at this, or is there changes you guys wanna make?
I say leave it the way it is for now.
I agree.
Jason?
I just would like to see the whole department cut. Like down to like 1 employee, 1 truck, bare minimum of everything. I'm not a keen though.
But that's something that,
I think we need to look at that on several departments though. So this isn't just noxious weed, but they, and I appreciate what they do and I'm not, but if that was one department that the county had that ceased to exist, no one in the county would notice. I hate to say it, but I mean, for the most part, nobody would notice.
So you'd have Road and Bridge doing their own spraying then?
It's a statutory.
No, it is. But see, and we're keeping the 1.5 mil to stay within the reimbursement thing with the state. I mean, you could go down to a 1/4 mil or 1/2 mil. I mean, you could do as low as you want.
So if you
You're not
go
gonna have
down
all the
to, if you
benefits.
go down to 1 employee, then you would just sell chemical basically? Or what would you do
Well,
with
you
one
could do like
employee?
what Duke talked about earlier. It's like, you have, say you get $20,000 worth of chemical available to the people in Russell County. When we're out, we're out. Because counties apparently do that.
Well, I talked to a guy from the state, and that's what he told me. He said you'll get backlash, but you can do that. And the same guy that told me that sent Stephanie an email that was 180 degrees from what he told me. He said if people ask for chemical, you have to provide it.
I think you can require the buyers to reimburse 100% of your cost too.
Yes.
So might as well just make it 100% cost, it should be a wash then. The chemical.
Right. So what if my only deal was with the chemical is how big a building are we gonna need at Road and Bridge? If we only do $20,000 worth of chemical and you're parking trucks in there, you only need this big. But if you're providing $150,000 worth of chemical, you're gonna need a bigger building than if you're doing 20. That's
Well, and also there could be different commissioners down the
Right.
road who want to sell chemical, so you gotta consider that too. I'm not saying we need a Taj Mahal building, but if a different set of commissioners decides to go a different direction, then we don't have space, we'll have to revisit that. So you gotta account for potential growth based on,
Can't you just say in your scenario, the smaller building, you buy that $20,000 worth of chemical, it comes in, you sell it, you buy another 20. You don't have to buy the whole $150,000 all at one time, you store it all at one time.
no, and if
We
you're
just do it because we get a better rate.
Yes.
You'll
And
find it bigger.
if it's not as good a rate
One payment.
and you're selling it at cost, it's not gonna matter. I mean, if it's $1, if we buy it $150,000 worth of chemical one time, or it's $1.50 or $1.25, because you're buying smaller, we're gonna sell it at $1.25. We're not gonna lose money on it. So, I mean, it'd be a little more paperwork, a little bit. I mean, yeah.
If we went to one employee and they happened to quit, would we be in violation of the state mandate? You got a road and bridge, or you got a noxious weed department, but no staff?
You still have an department, you just have to hire somebody to replace them.
Well, if you can't hire somebody.
With all the credentials.
yeah, there's a lot of training
Yeah,
that goes into that. They all have had to take classes, including the receptionist, about chemical. So you do have to take a lot of trainings that do cost money, just FYI.
Just out at Road and Bridges, you could have somebody from Road and Bridge.
So I guess if we did cut, let's say we're gonna cut it, if we did, that's a year long. We need to start talking about it now.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
budget
that's
here,
it.
you can't.
Well, I said it's not a decision you're gonna make
Right.
overnight.
2.5 people, 2.5 employees.
So I would
There's
say
three, there's a
we
receptionist and two others.
let's leave the budget
leave
the
the
way it
budget
is.
it is, and if we're gonna make that way, I mean, we can start talking
Yeah, we can start.
after this. So I would say the
Leave it like it is.
consensus is leave this one and on to the next.
Okay, 4-H building maintenance, spent 83,000 last year, anticipating 75,000 for the next 2 years.
I dropped that one, 10,000.
Yes, but the air conditioner, that isn't figured in that.
No.
Okay, does that come out of capital improvement?
But again, a lot of people want to use that a lot of times, and we don't have a lot of, we have one guy who takes care of all of that. So there may be times when something isn't going to be perfect for somebody who wants to use the 4-H grounds, because we don't have quite the money to make the repairs necessary.
Where are you guys good with dropping it 10? Jason?
Yeah.
Alan?
Yeah, if we can
Dean?
Yeah,
make it fly.
Yeah, that's good.
Election.
I think
Election,
we can slash the heck out of that one.
no. She spent 111,000 in 25. I'm anticipating 160 in 26 and then in 27, 210. Problem with that one is you never know when you're gonna have, well, Christie can talk to it better than I can, but you never know. If you have a special election, you got expenses and you gotta be ready for them.
And equipment, we're
And
trying to save up for equipment too. Cause this year our pull pads will be obsolete.
What's the life expectancy? 5 years or like your
I mean, with any electronics, I mean,
5 to 7 years?
You've had these 5 years, ain't you?
Or-
our OVIs that you vote on, we've had since 16. We just did get the new SESs 2 years ago. And then our poll pads are obsolete this year, so Apple will be updating those. So I'll be needing to get new poll pads this year.
Sure.
And plus we have our primary general election. So we're gonna have 3 elections this year.
in 26, in 26 or 27.
26.
I would say that one.
Next year,
Sorry.
we have the primary and the general. What's the school on? We have to have the budget. Yeah, you're right. Thank you.
And then, I mean, some sense that fund there, I mean, you get, I call them unfunded mandates, because you gotta follow the Secretary of State's
Yes,
rules, so.
and if an entity comes and says, I need to have a special election, we have a special election. Which,
I mean, it's been pretty good. And then you have your poll work, I mean, every time you have an election, you gotta pay your polling people, and
Even if you get reimbursed on stuff, you gotta have the authority to.
gotta have the authority to spend it, yeah.
Okay, well, I think that one's good. For everybody else, all right with it?
Yeah. Ambulance, ambulance spent a little over $1 million last year, so they're anticipating 1.1 and then about 1.1, 1,150,000.
is that equipment too?
Christie,
They got some capital.
have they made their transfer
Can't read all that, Jim.
for that 40,000
Yeah,
into their
that's fine.
special equipment
They
fund?
got some in there
I
for
don't
capital
believe so.
outlay.
You usually do that in the year, don't we?
Yeah,
What
you
I'm
should.
wondering-
May not make that.
Because they've spent-
Well, they're at 50% of their budget, 48%.
Well,
Hopefully.
I know it, but if they're at that rate, there's not gonna be
Well,
40,000 to carry over.
Capital outlay.
Yeah,
Didn't you just buy a new
They're gonna be over.
ambulance 2 years ago?
they're,
COVID
which we
money.
had to do that last
That's
year
what
too.
it was.
We
It
had
was
to
CARES.
amend- we did have to
Money
amend
got
them
CARES
last
or
year.
Sparks? I
Yeah.
can't remember which one.
I think it was smart.
So the thing on, that's what it was.
But it takes 6 years to get an ambulance.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
And you gotta have the money when you order at least part of it, I think, for down payment, I would guess, when you order one.
What it is with buses.
in 25, he had collections of 367, so that's what people pay him. They've held it to about 310, because you don't know for sure what's coming in, but the average, it's averaging around 300, so they went to 310. We levied in 26 $500,000. Well, we might have levied more than that, but that's what we levied, 518,000. And this year, we're gonna levy to funding, if you pass it, about 786,000, so it's up some.
But his budget's always stayed pretty,
Yeah, he's pretty good.
yeah, I mean, it has,
Expenditure,
every
right.
year it does not go up a lot.
But he did, if he spends all that budget in 26, we're only carrying over $10,000. This is where we're getting into that carryover. If you see what we carried over to 26, we carried over about a little over a $250,000. And if he spends everything, he's only gonna carry over about 10.
So then you're gonna have to levy another $200,000
So,
to get where it's
I
at.
mean, you get into that.
So my question is that budget enough?
he spends it all, that isn't any much carryover to buy equipment.
No, cause we're not, cause we're not gonna have the 40,000 to put in the special equipment, you know, for the ambulance.
If he carries over 10,000 a year, if that's what it ends up being, an ambulance is 300,000. It take him 30 years to buy an ambulance.
Right.
They're wearing out faster than we can buy them.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
that's
at
the thing.
this point, he's got 40, what does it say,
48%.
48% halfway through the year. He may not have the 40,000 to transfer into special equipment.
Well, in 25, he had $1.2 million authority, and he spent $1 million, say 1.1, so. But he didn't collect. So he's got authority to spend 1.1 this year and 1.1.
Stephanie, did you talk to Duke about Works County?
Stephanie, what's your thought?
Well, he had a new motor that he purchased, so that took into account some of this.
In 25.
We
Yeah.
always got one getting worked on.
Yes.
I
I mean, I think.
don't wanna levy any more than we have to,
I
but
don't
I don't wanna come up. I mean, we gotta look down the road too.
Yes.
I mean, I think we're fine, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I feel it should be more, but he's been very good with his expenses in the past and collections. We don't know the collection number for sure, but
Well, I'm more worried with putting money back for a new ambulance down the road.
exactly. I mean,
And then
that's,
we come up short. And one thing that the county does not owe any money. I mean, we have no debt other than normal, you know, or opera monthly or whatever.
Well, the only debt you're carrying is on that fire truck for Gorham, but they paid back. I mean, you loaned them that.
Right.
If it's not written with the loan.
I think we got
Well, we've got,
one payment left on it.
One or two.
One or two.
so what you guys thought?
I'm not against giving him
Yeah.
5% more if we think that's the thing to do.
Jason, what's your thought?
I'd hate to come up short for an ambulance because we know it's coming down the road. But it's still,
Well, what did he request?
If your collections.
That was what he
higher, that's
requested.
more
Yeah.
than the
That is what he requested.
Yeah.
I didn't cut him at all.
If
I
that's what
kept
he
him,
requested, that's what I go
I kept him at his
Wait a
request.
minute, don't.
for. Just leave it just like that.
Well,
And if we don't have
but
enough,
you
we're
can,
just
or
gonna
you
go
can
another
consider
year.
giving him the same authority he had in 25.
Yeah.
Raise it, $100,000, not quite 100,000, but.
EMS, no
ambulance
change.
is one
Yeah,
of the
I didn't-
country ones.
This is
A little
what-
bit,
Everybody
yeah.
wants an ambulance if they have a heart attack.
Or fall off a sprayer or something.
Hey, the crew did inform me I was riding in the oldest one we had, and it had problems.
Go see on that, I always got confused at road and bridge too. Between the collections and reimbursement. Reimbursement goes back into their fund, collection goes over as cash. I mean, it's not back into their fund to spend that same year, if you collect that.
It depends on what budget you're looking at.
Well, just like the ambulance there,
So that goes back into their fund, cause they're separate.
they can still spend that year.
If they got
If they
authority.
got authority.
Okay.
So, yeah, if they collect 200,000 tomorrow, that's gonna go into the 26 budget.
Cause I know like at road and bridge, when you had added collection, it was different than reimbursement. Reimbursements, we get
You text
roll
Chris.
right back in like we got reimbursed culverts or whatever.
Then it
back
wouldn't
in.
affect your spending budget. where you-
Right,
No,
where
the
the
40,000 with the way he's
collections
spending money
have
today.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Well,
I just leave it just like,
leave it like it is.
Let's leave her alone.
that's what he's requesting, so.
Correct.
But if you don't give them the authority to go, to have more collections that go into it, then you're cutting your,
Well, you amend the budget at the end of the year.
oh, you can amend
Yeah.
it? Okay.
I mean, you could, you could, under collections, for what you anticipate, he collected 367. I mean, you could go to 360 in them 2 years. And then increase his authority in 27 back to 25. You could increase, you could anticipate 50,000 more coming in this year and 50,000 more in 27, which would be 100,000. And then give him 100,000 more authority.
But if he don't have the
But
money,
if
he
he
can't
doesn't
spend it.
collect it, he
Yeah.
can't
Don't
spend
have
it.
to
I mean,
get
To
rid of it.
me, that
so
makes
it,
sense.
so if you did that, it increased collections 50, up to 360 in most
Right,
years, and then you increase his authority to 1.2, you're not increasing the levy,
right.
I think that's,
because you're washing it out with anticipated collections.
Well, is the
But-
310 what he's collected already this year?
That's what
So
we're
far,
anticipating.
Anticipating, okay.
I mean, we looked, I mean, that was what was budgeted last year, when we did 26.
Okay.
So collections this year, I don't know, we'd have to ask.
Hate that middle
Kristen.
column.
Yeah, I gotta love the middle column.
But what I'm saying is if you wanted to increase his authority, you could do it by increasing your collections and not raising any meals.
I think that's.
But,
Or leave it like it is and
or
we
you
get,
leave it like it is.
and we get more
And
collections.
if you collect more, then you have to amend the budget.
Then we can amend his budget for him to transfer
Before
into
the
special.
end, before the end
I
of
think
27.
that's what we ought to do.
Right,
I mean,
then
it's,
Just amend it.
Okay, on the collections, that's when they're transferring from the Russell Hospital building.
or,
Hospitals, right?
or if people don't have it.
Perfect.
Like your Medicare and stuff like that, your collection.
Get reimbursed,
Mhm.
but also
Or-
when they're going out of town.
Well, I think that's any money they get, isn't it?
Transfers is in collection.
Because the insurance pays. So, since David's here, what's the percentage of transfers out of Russell Regional to other hospitals
You mean overall or by Russell units?
by Russell EMS?
It's getting lower.
Okay.
So like, I have to actually tell you what the percentages. But if they're an inpatient, we transfer and we pay that, so then that's from us to them. So that's
So if they
insurance.
come into the ER and need to be
Then that's
transferred out.
insurance, so we're in there too. But it's getting lower.
Well, insurance or uninsured. I mean, they have to pay.
Right.
I mean, that's all in that. It's a nice bunch. Some of the uninsured don't ever pay.
Right, I'd say leave it like it is, in my opinion, and then, like you guys said, and then we amend the
Well,
budget.
If he collects more, you can amend.
Right, and then we can put that in.
So it's
the
retroactive if it's right now and he goes over, on the collections as to what's up there, you can amend it and it's retroactive.
You can amend it at the end of this year. So let's say his collections this year go to 500,000, let's say.
Uh-huh.
Well, if it, in November or December, if you see that he's got more cash than he's got authority, then you can amend the budget.
And it's okay to retroactive kind of thing
Yeah, it's
For
limited
26.
for 26.
for 26.
And usually they do it just in case they're going, they say, oh, I'm gonna go over budget, and we've collected more, so then we do amend it so they don't have budget violation.
Okay, thank you.
Or they carry it over.
Okay,
Which is okay.
yes, I think we're good on that one, Jim.
So the next one's free fare. Last year they spent 80,000. They, ooh, how'd we do that?
What's that? We're in the hole.
It says they went over their budget.
Well, that's audited, so
Ain't nothing you
we
can do
can't
about that.
change that one.
What did they
But anyway,
spend?
last year they had, well, they said, the audit's saying they spent $80,295. Or what you sent them,
They had 50
that 50 of the
from
30.
us in 25.
Like that.
So the
I
question,
missed that one.
Collections.
so the question, what do we wanna give them this year?
So in 26, you said you were gonna give them 25,000. 27, you're saying you're gonna give them 30,000.
You guys bumped that.
I didn't bump it, but it was bumped, yes.
I'd say leave it just like it is. I'd like to see more.
It doesn't collect more in tax.
I like the
I'm fine
25.
with something.
I think that's another one. I think they
Well,
can
they
get,
must have collected more.
they can get
And
donations.
just send it out.
I think they just need to ask.
Instead of sending it out, she should have just sent the 50 and we'd have carried 30,000 over. But evidently more taxes came in than we had afforded to spend.
And it is one of our very few unmandated funds, FYI.
So there's that.
Dean, what's your thought?
I'm a fan of the fair. I think it's good for people to come out from the county and the community and surrounding counties. It is an unmandated, item. If they spend 80,000, I don't know. I mean, they've got a lot planned for this year, but that doesn't. We're talking about next year. Go ahead,
Well,
sir.
I mean, the fair board didn't spend 80,000. You had 80-some thousand of tax come in. So you might have delinquent taxes collected or
okay.
something.
Okay.
And whatever came in, she sent out.
Okay.
I mean, I'd have to dig in. I can't answer it for sure, but it's, my thought would be you collected some delinquent taxes from
Okay.
prior years that was levied. So if you're collecting 23 taxes, then you go back to that and see where that was supposed to go. And part of it went into this fund, so we collected more than we had afforded.
I say leave it at 30.
I mean, I'm in favor of either 25 or 30. I mean, it's a good event for the community. I know it doesn't make us any money. It makes the city money if they collect sales tax, et cetera, on people coming to town and doing different things. So
It actually costs us money.
I know it does.
Just FYI.
I mean, that's the thing. We don't
I
make any
mean,
money.
this is just what you're saying. You're going to levy to the fair to help the fair.
Exactly.
So that's what this fund.
And we don't know what they have planned for next year, obviously. I mean,
Fair board gets the money and spends the money. So.
And I'm 100% for the fair. I mean, I've supported the fair since I've been here. But we're cutting mandated funds. And then we're giving more to a non-mandated fund than we did last year. Like I said, I'm 100% behind the fair. Me and my wife, like I said, we've supported it every year since we've been here. But I guess that's the question is,
I'm with you on that.
we're cutting mandated funds. And then we're giving, and I know what 5,000, but 5,000 here and 5,000 there adds up. So
So are you good with 25,000?
I'm good with 25,000.
Let's take
Yeah.
25,000.
25.
Because it needs something.
Right, no, I agree, but I
don't
think
wanna
there's
cut it all the way.
donations, and I know people that have donated and would donate, so I think they can get their money.
And the five, it changed it a little bit, but now you're at 82 bales or 5,000. I would drop it.
A fraction of a million.
1,500. So
Like I said, in the big picture, it don't matter, but to me, it looks better when you're cutting other mandated funds.
Now, mental health and service to the elderly, these are, whatever you collect for these funds goes out. Which one are we on there? Mental health. So mental health gave you a budget of $49,930. That was their request. Stephanie, if I'm wrong, correct me, but that was their request this year, and that's what we put in.
Yes, they went down from last year, their
So-
requests.
It went 39,025 to 52,026, 39. But again, that one, I mean, if the taxes don't come in, you don't spend it.
He went up to 52 for the new crisis intervention center. So we gave them extra, and then this year they did ask for some support for the crisis intervention center, but the request itself still went down.
Well, I think that's a good, that center that they build, we've had inmates sitting in jail that should have been in a mental health facility instead of sitting in jail. And
Not
Be sure you clarify that, Jim.
so, I mean,
With your.
I think we're good with,
And just so everybody knows, that 49,000, that's this county share, so there's, I mean, it's like every county.
right.
Northwest Kansas.
Northwest Kansas, so that's how that works. Now, service to the elderly, well, that's one that whatever comes in, we send out, so. But you have to levy 1 mil
Yep.
for service to the elderly, statutory, which is one of the ones I showed you at the beginning the other day. Not much you can do there.
Right.
Okay. County health. So county health spent 325,000 and 25. We've got anticipating spending 355 this year, and it went to 401, 150 for 27. A lot of that increase is vaccines.
That's what they said when they were in here, how much vaccines went up.
That's what it looked like to me. Increase in vaccines.
And they've done great. I mean, you look at, if you go back to the 24 budget, I know we don't have that up there, but
You can go back a long way.
And it's-
This is a lot better than
it's,
it used to be.
well, it was $500,000.
Yeah.
So that's what I say, they've saved us over
So they have
100,000
done, me and Stephanie had an idea on it. I argued with her, told her it wouldn't work, but she was right and I was wrong. So it's on tape now, Stephanie.
Wow.
Boy,
Mark the time.
put that right.
But, I mean, again, keep an eye on, we carried over 462,000 and we think we're gonna carry over 246,000.
I still feel very comfortable with that.
And that's, I'm just wanting to point them out.
Right.
Because resources are going down. But that's how you hold tax down. Debt services, which there's nothing in that one.
No, this is developmental services.
Oh, developmental services.
This is something goes out.
Comes in, goes out.
And that's what they do.
No, is
And
that what,
they requested the 90. I guess they didn't change their budget.
No, they didn't change
They
it.
sent same request.
is
Yeah.
that, man, is that a mandated fund?
Development, no, it is not.
But
Mental health services is mandated.
this one, I mean, it's a great organization.
They have
employ a lot of people in Russell County.
they have a few houses here
Right.
in Russell County.
You're good. Just get it so it picks up your voice a little better.
I thought they could hear him down the street.
Good with that one?
Yeah.
Crazy. Appraiser spent 239,842. We're anticipating 254,500 and then 270,500. Carried over 32,000. Anticipating a $25,000 carryover to 27. Then he has authority to spend 268. So we're anticipating not to spend all his budget authority.
Right, his budget went up 2,000.
And he didn't spend all of it in 25. But then his authority, yeah, like Duke said, went from 268 to 270, so $2,500.
You guys good with that one?
Yeah.
Jason?
Yeah.
Special bridge, we have to levy 2 mills. You know, this is getting back to your bridges. I mean, there's Special Bridge and there's Road
Special
and
Road
Bridge and there's
Which one has the Hill Creek?
this one,
No,
this one.
Special Bridge had the Hall Creek
The
transfer.
one we looked at before.
Yeah.
Special.
See, and we don't know what the cost of that bridge is gonna, it went from 2.1 million to 5.1 million, so.
And the county shares.
I-
20?
Well, I think we're gonna be all right. I think
I think we got it.
depends what, at this point, I think our cost is gonna be like a little over $750,000. Like a 770,000. But
our share.
Our share. But it hasn't went out to bid yet either.
This is one that's up making 2 million, right?
Well, but it went up again.
It's going up faster than looking.
So
Yeah.
they know it's coming,
Too.
so they're preparing for that.
And if we have extra in that, I mean, hopefully that can go to repair some of these other bridges.
Yeah, if it comes under, then you'll have a little extra for your other 196 bridges.
We don't want to get there and say, oops, we don't have enough.
And this is a fund too that can just sit there and keep building
Mm-hmm.
for any unknown, like on our 9 bridges we got in trouble with right now.
Right.
That's what it's for.
Good.
I'm good with it.
Okay, now this is employee benefits. Now, to your point, Raylene, this is where all the payroll taxes, the health insurance, it all goes in. When they do a payroll, the withholding goes into this fund, and when they pay out, it comes out. So that's why the county share of payroll taxes to the employees is levied into this fund instead of each department. So it's just the way it works. But spent 2.5 million last year, anticipating 2.9 this year and 3.1 in 27. And I'm sure most of that's health insurance, I would guess. Some of it's payroll taxes because you had raises.
Have you increased the salaries yet, or is it hourly wage salaries or any of that yet budgeted into that?
That's budgeted in everybody's department. They all budget in salaries.
And what was the increase in health insurance you guys said the other day?
$20,000.
Yeah.
It's with what we're doing, we're actually lower than most counties with what our increase is because of the way we structured it.
And what did
But they
Dan
still
say?
had $1.1 million carryover in 25, so we got almost 900,000, 850,000 carryover.
Yeah.
Yeah, so your carryovers went down a couple 100,000,
Well,
or
and we had-
anticipated carryover,
We had somebody retire that
and you
had,
had to pay them out.
that
Yeah,
we paid
paid
out. That
everything
was
out.
quite a chunk of money.
That don't chunk money, and
Yes.
if they didn't ever use them.
But they've been here for a long time.
We could have a lot more of them over the next 2-3
You could have.
years.
Right.
It's coming.
Oh, yeah.
In the next 5 for sure.
Mhm.
I think we're good. I mean,
Yep.
that's just kind of, it is that one, it is what it is.
You can't really change.
Here's one that'll be a hot topic. Historical Society.
All righty. I went to the Historical Society's meeting. I don't know, was it a week ago?
Russell counties.
Russell County Historical Society. And they asked, and like I said, this is just what happened, that instead of cutting to 40,000 this year, we cut to like,
44.
45, well, that's for 2 other, cut to 45,000, 47, whatever, and then in 2-3 years, we can get down to the 40,000 to let them adjust. And then something else, and this was brought up by somebody, the county giving money to other historical societies that are not county historical societies. And are those cities giving money to the historical societies and then asking us to fund? So the floor is open.
So in 26, you levied a half a mil.
Right.
So if you go with this budget, you'd be levying 0.346 mil.
But a half mil is like 57,000, and then that extra 5,000 is for taking into consideration delinquent taxes and stuff like that. Because a half mil isn't 62,000.
Half a mil,
Or is it?
that'd be 70.
Yeah, I guess, well, a half a mil would be,
70, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
114.
In 27, be half a mil.
yeah, okay. So,
I think there's a resolution to do 0.5, so they have to.
So you guys would need to
Well,
vote that you're
that's-
not gonna do
it's
a
a
half
vote.
mil anymore.
Yeah,
The resolution just says fund. It does
So-
not say what amount. The
So-
vote
so if-
says half a mil.
Yeah, so if you want to go to 3.46, I think you have to have a vote
Yeah, you'll have to vote.
to change your prior vote from a half a mil.
When was that?
What's that?
1997.
So we're gonna take their budget down, and they're still not gonna give 10,000 to the two that's outside the county, outside City of Russell.
no, what is in there is 40,000 to Russell County Historical Society and to Bunker Hill. That's what's budgeted, that's what we're talking about now. So, like I said, the floor is open.
So in 25, you had authority to spend 366, and they spent 60,000, so that's what came in. Though in 26, you have authority to spend 62,595 that comes in. And then then in 27, you're saying, you're giving yourself authority to spend 44,000.
Jason, I'm gonna throw this one on here, you're the one that brought it up to start with. I'm gonna throw you under the bus.
I'm not of the opinion that government should be funding museums. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Well, what's your thought on this? What, everybody's,
My personal, when I think of county historical society, it's the Russell County Historical Society. And to be real honest, before I was a commissioner, I wasn't even aware that there were other little historical societies in different little communities. I always just associated with this budget number being specifically for the one that's in Russell, which is the county seat. So that's what I think of when I think of the Russell County Historical Society. And the point is, and I know that you brought it up the last meeting, whether the other cities are given to those or not, and I'm not aware that they are. I'm not aware that they're not either.
Does the city contribute anything?
no, cause it's a county, they do, because it's a county, it is the Russell County Historical Society.
So
I guess that, you could answer that one, I guess, Dustin, but they said you guys don't give, because it's a county.
It's not a city historical society, it's a county. And I can say after my comments at your last meeting, budget meeting, I had a lot of people in the public reach out to me and say that they agree completely.
I did
The
too.
county shouldn't be funding other cities' historical societies.
Even though their taxes go to help pay for ours.
But their taxes go to fund the county historical society. If that.
They're part of the county.
Well,
But my big question is, why don't we own anything outside the City of Russell? If we're a county historical society, all the buildings that that organization owns is in the city limits of Russell.
they gotta be somewhere, I mean.
I know that, but you, like I said last time, you got the first county jail in Bunker Hill. You got the first log cabin in Lorraine. We don't, I mean, yeah, they got some funds to help you do it, cause my nephew was redoing it. But I don't understand why that shouldn't be part of Russell County Historical when it's some of the first stuff that was ever built.
So our budget for the, and you used it a couple of years ago with the play park in Russell, the, what's that alcohol tax? Dan, Dan's on here.
Yeah, there's that play park that comes out of the recreation.
There's like a recreation.
Well, I thought that one come out of the alcohol tax.
Special
Oh,
alcohol.
that's it.
You know, that whole time.
Okay, is that something that, I mean, we have the discretion of where that money goes? But then would Bunker Hills Historical Society be able to put in a request for some of that money? Would that fall underneath that stipulation?
Special parks and recreation
I think it's just.
Because I mean, we gave the cities, or you guys gave the city some of the play park that one year.
Right.
And
I
if,
believe it's, the statute dictates that it has to be recreation and
Recreation,
historical society
like
when we're
parks.
gonna be recreational.
it would be if you're old and that's what you're, that's all you gotta do. I mean, it's walk around and that's, you enjoy it. I mean, I think that's kind of vague.
You could try to argue that with the state, but they may have bigger details that say.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
I'm just saying, that's, some people enjoy to do that, like in museums, like that's their recreation, that's what they do.
Depends on what your definition of fun is.
Thank you. But I mean, but I was curious if, all set aside, if we're only talking about Russell County Historical Society with what's on here, let's say we don't include Dorrance or Bunker Hill in this, would Bunker Hill or Dorrance be able to receive funding through that alcohol tax for their historical society?
I would say no, because the special alcohol goes into parks and recreation when we collect it from the state. A third stays there, a third goes to general.
Yeah.
So you could, I mean, you might have some wiggle room in your general fund, and then a third goes to the treatment center. So of that special alcohol, only 1/3 of it is for your, well, basically your parks and recreation of the county. So I mean,
And then there's your definition of recreation.
Yeah, Melinda.
When you were at the Historical Society meeting, did any discussion come up that out of this lump sum that they were getting, that they would share with the other historical societies in the county?
Well, I think they
Or
have,
they
they
keep
talk,
it all?
yes.
They've made offers.
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah, they have said if somebody needs $1,000, or if we tell them, give them $1,000, that they would do it. Just have to take their word for it, but they have offered. Tim has been clear that, and I know that they've given a printer, and they have given some funds to, I don't remember which one, but it's happened, yeah.
I'm with the opinion we ought to give Bunker Hill and Dorrance $2,000 each.
I'd say leave it just like it is there, that 44,000. That's included, right?
Yes, that's 40,000 too.
Well,
I mean, it's a
are
start.
you gonna take it to the 500,000 or leave it at that 3 point?
No, 3. Well, if we do this, it's gonna be, but we're gonna have to vote to
decrease that.
to get rid of the vote on
On the 500,000.
the $500,000.
We'd have to rescind that.
Yes.
Yeah, you probably definitely have to rescind it.
I don't like that idea very well.
Because it was voted on in 97, you know.
Yeah.
You know what?
I don't like the idea of rescinding that very well.
The
Give you.
The resolution was in 66 or 67
That put them to a half.
to fund the historical societies. And then in 96 or 7, it was voted for $500,000.
Oh, that's what it
That-
put to a half.
Right.
By Jay.
If I was in, that's what I would do.
So your new motion would be
Won't
fund them
go
up
over.
to $500,000.
So they can make it.
Cap it
point
up.
one
Up to that,
million.
you don't have to.
Cap it out.
Right.
But then they can say no.
And we have done that in years past, haven't we? Went to $500,000.
No, we have done every year.
In 97, it was voted on by the commission, you will fund $500,000.
And we have done that.
And you have been doing that.
No,
Yeah,
we're not now.
well, it depends on how we vote
Cap it at
today.
It's up to you guys, but again, one of for
We gotta do
unmandated
that now.
funds. And if
Well,
we're talking
yeah,
about
before-
cutting
Before we move on.
employees,
Yeah.
I think that that's something to consider.
We
Well,
have a resolution number we gotta receive.
I don't think it's a
no.
resolution, it's
The
just,
The resolution was in 60, was just to fund
66,
it.
and it just says may fund.
And then in 97, or
So we need to
Just
amend
the
that
half.
vote then? Or we just make a new
You would just make a new vote that
Just
says
make a new
up
motion.
to.
Sure.
two?
So I'll make the motion that we fund, I make a motion that we fund the, are you done?
Raylene, you need to be quiet when we're making resolutions, please. Shh.
I'll make a motion that we fund the historical societies up to $500,000.
I'll second it.
We got a motion, a second, any discussion?
When you say historical societies, you mean all?
It gives you wiggle room.
Yeah,
as well.
historical societies, yes.
Does
I'm just
any-
wondering.
Yeah, because the other one's vague, so any other comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So, what do we want to do on this? Do we want to stair step it? Or
Are you talking Russell County right
Russell
now?
County to the 40, or do you want to make the 40 now?
I would be fine with 44 if they were the ones that were gonna.
Well, in this, there's, in this 44, there's 42 Russell County Historical Society, 2 to Bunker Hill, and 2 to Dorrance.
Right, what I was saying is that I would support 44,000 to Russell County Historical Society and let them work with Bunker Hill or Dorrance if they had needs. That Russell County Historical Society would give those funds to those historical societies.
What's your thought?
Sure, wanting to stair step it down from the 62,000 down to the 44 a year. Is that what you're?
Well, no, I
Is that
say,
what
do
you're
we want to cut it all at once?
That's what I'm saying. So you,
Or do you want to go to giving Russell County 45 this year and the other two,
Because that was Russell County's request to Duke was, hey, we know you want to fund us at 40. We would appreciate if you would do 50 this year, 45 next year. Like do something so they can prepare.
stair step it down that way. They got time to readjust their budgets and. So my suggestion would be just like that, take it to 50,000 for 2027. That's down, maybe 55,000, whatever, because it's stair step down.
So in that 50,000, does that include?
Well, it's still gonna set it up like 2,000 for Bunker Hill, 2,000 for Dorrance,
And then 50 for,
and then, 50 for Russell. But I mean, it's stair stepping down throughout the whole process. Instead of a bam, you got a $20,000 cut.
The problem with this is that the way we changed the budget request for the historical societies. So we had 2 of them come this year.
right, what's going to happen next year?
Next year, you could have Luray, you could have the little thing over at Bunker Hill come in, you could have something from Waldo come in, and they still are not the county historical society. I still think that the Russell County Historical Society should be in charge of the monies, and that if the smaller towns outside of Russell need assistance, then they need to work directly with the Russell County Historical Society, which apparently has already happened in the past to a certain degree.
So the dissemination of funds would be essentially up to that board.
Yeah. That's my personal, how I would like to see it.
Because that's the reason we're in the position we're in now. Because some of the past would never ever share money. They wanted it all for that one and all. Because I remember talking about it in 2011, and I mean,
Or it could be a directive, you tell the Russell County Historical Society,
It has to be sure.
this is what's expected of you, and if you don't want to lose a whole bunch more money, everybody's gonna have to play and get along.
Well, if I understand your resolution, I mean, it's to the Russell County
No,
Historical Society.
it does not say Russell County in the resolution. It says the Historical Society.
So then it'd be up to the board of the Historical Society or what they did with the tax revenue. I mean, I'm just giving you my gut response.
But how come that board is never audited? Damn good thing you got here. They get money and it's a mill levy. How come that, does that get audited?
What,
The museum, I mean, our own fair board gets audited every year.
They're audited, no.
I asked for the
They
budget
could be,
last
but
year,
There are
but
some entities, so
we
I don't
didn't
know
get
if
everything
everything
we
is.
wanted.
Fair board,
To my knowledge,
Fair board is
no.
under the county commission, the historical society is not.
So in essence, if they said, hey, we want you to distribute money, they don't have to necessarily? Like if Russell County Historical Society, if these guys said, hey, we want you to give $2,000 to Bunker Hill, they don't have to, they don't want
They
to.
don't have to, no.
I mean,
I mean,
again,
if you-
they've said they would, I'm not,
Fair enough,
but,
no, they wouldn't have to necessarily.
okay.
Now, their risk is if you did that this year and they didn't do it, you could your budget next year. And then
Right, of course, yeah.
There would be a penalty for that, so.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Could you, it's not in the resolution, but when you grant this money to the Historical Society, make sure that they distribute this money to the others and ask them when they come for a budget hearing next year to prove how much was given to each society that they gave out of that. And it will determine how much money you give the Russell County Historical Society in the future.
Yeah.
If they do not want to, yeah, but make them come to you with the proof that
Right.
they have.
And they would. I don't
I-
have no doubt they would.
I think
House-
But it's not being stipulated now that they have to, and so just ask them.
How's making them distribute it any different than you guys doing it here with 2000? It's the exact same thing.
Right.
I mean, all you're doing, if you distribute it, where it's going down, if they don't, to me, I still stand that they shouldn't get anything. They're not a county historical society. They should go to their cities, and their cities could choose to levy $500,000 on their behalf and give it straight to them. I mean, it's their own members, their own community supporting them, not the entire county.
Well, and I could argue both sides. Whether it's in Bunker Hill or Dorrance Museum, it's the stuff in there is from that region. It's not, it's not from the city of Bunker Hill. It's not from the city of Dorrance. 99% of it, would be my guess, come from that region of the county. So, like I said, I could argue.
There could be Bunker Hill artifacts in the Russell
Right.
Historical Society buildings. There could be Dorrance artifacts, but nevertheless, Bunker Hill has their own standalone museum, and so does Dorrance.
And it was
Which
started
they
about the same
chose to
time.
do on their own.
Well, they've had some support from the community to get where they're at. There's also private concerns down there that haven't used any money that could be considered museums. Those guys are a little upset that they pay taxes and don't get anything back for their historical societies.
People in the city can't use noxious weed.
There you go.
I mean, there's arguments of,
Fair is not equal. Equal is not fair.
so I guess what we need to decide now is what is the total dollar amount, regardless of where it goes at this point, do we want to give to the Historical Society?
45
The Russell Historical Society.
total,
Total.
and that's gonna get distributed out. If we can put it in there, it'd be distributed to Bunker Hill, Dorrance, just how it is now listed. 2,000 each.
But to Jason's point, what happens when 3 more historical societies come in next year
Mhm.
and
When I said that, I wasn't expecting Russell County Historical Society to give exactly $2,000 to Dorrance and $2,000 to Bunker Hill. My idea behind that was they're going to work in tandem, share resources if they need some cash or something, but it's not like a guaranteed. That's kind of what they've done in the past, like with the printer thing. And
So you're saying give them 45 total to the County Historical Society, and it's up to them to distribute out to the other ones if they make requests?
that's how I would do it, because I mean we could have Waldo, Luray, I mean numerous ones coming in, and the next year that's all that's going to do is raise our. I mean, if we're guaranteeing people, I think what Russell County Historical Society has done is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely, with their buildings and stuff, and I hear from my mom helps all the time. I just think that is the one that, unfortunately, you agree or not, that's the one that.
So 45 total, you're saying, and that's it. Period.
To
Russell County
Russell County Historical
And then-
And
Society.
then it'll be their discretion as to what.
to
they give
distribute
to
it
you.
out.
Yeah,
If we're gonna do that, we almost ought to have a requirement that there's a member from Dorrance and a member from Bunker Hill on the board.
They're not under you.
You don't
can't
have
have
that.
You can't do
You don't
that.
have that
Can't
authority.
do
They're
that.
not a,
Alan, what's your thought?
I mean, if we're gonna just do it and ask them, so like this year, they came to us with their budgets, Dorrance and Bunker Hill,
Right.
to see what funds they needed. So that next year, are they gonna come back to us again, or are they gonna go to the requesting funds?
Well, and just a little history.
Right.
They came before and you guys said, you guys go figure it out. And then
Right.
they said, we don't feel like we should have to figure it out. We need you guys to tell us what to do. And now we're back here.
I don't know how there can be more than one. I mean, when we're funding anything like this, there's one, in my mind, there's one Russell County Historical Society. That's what there is. There's not more than one of them. At the end of the day, there's only one of them.
This is no different than when the arena situation came up and you guys said, go figure it out and come back. Historical societies are gonna have to figure it out amongst themselves and then come back. And they need to have proof that they're working together. Because if somehow Russell decides that they don't wanna help anybody, then they can get their funds cut as well. But they need to figure it out amongst themselves,
Well, I think if we're gonna have,
my opinion.
right, yeah,
I mean, we're funding them, we just don't have any control over them. In all reality, we're funding the organization that we have no control over. If you want to look at the broader scope, we fund the hospital, we have no control over it.
right.
This is on a much smaller scale, and
But this is your control.
I know, the budget is the control.
That's your control.
Mhm.
So you're saying 45, and then they give to the others. Does it?
Work with the others, yeah.
Mhm.
Dan, what's your thought?
Fine with it.
Steve?
Yeah, that's all right.
Was there one time?
Well,
Come
I'll
out.
say we'll do it, and if they don't, then,
We change it next year.
yeah.
I mean, they all have the same
That
goal.
was just up to.
I mean-
Mill levy. For the
Mhm.
society.
As far as what they're trying to
It's just up a
accomplish.
certain mill levy.
I mean,
Right.
so it's kind of like, you need, obviously the county only has so many resources we can throw
Right.
out. So
And we're cutting mandated funds.
it's,
Mhm.
Pluralized in this society.
I'm fine with the 45, if that, doing it
Okay.
that way.
Let's leave it that way and see how it works.
So
Did
who's
you
gonna
make
be communicating that idea to Dorrance and Bunker?
I get that
Oh, good, thank you.
job. Yes.
She gets all the fun stuff.
I'm the one everyone gets mad at.
I'm pretty sure they'll know before you.
Oh,
Hospital,
I know, they already know now. I mean, Alan
we go
does.
to hospital board. Are you
Yeah.
done with that one? We've changed it to
Yeah.
45.
Yeah.
There's the hospital board. Spent 712, had them at 739 and down to 727.
And they're required to fight.
And this is the 5.9
Mills.
mils. So, I mean.
We have no control over that one. Unless David wants to cut it.
Prefer not to.
Well, I mean, the board requests
Right.
what they want. So if they requested the whole meal.
Right.
But that don't mean we have to fund them. It's a
Yeah, it
request.
does.
Yes.
That one's
They set the
elected.
mills, we don't. And that was by vote
I know.
of the population.
That they can request up to
That's how they have a lot of
5.9.
I think I can request up to 6 mills, they just.
They've only said 5.9, so they don't get in that question whether you can have 6 or you can have less than 6. They just do 5.9.
Right.
Up to the
And that's the way we've done it for years.
So that one's a no.
Let's have some sales tax.
No, it's-
Right.
Well, the electorate passed that.
I mean, that could always go back to a vote of the
They
public.
can go back to a vote to
But
change.
that's only within the city limits, right?
No,
Mhm.
it's county
County.
hospital.
County hospital.
That's what we
Oh,
do.
Well, I didn't think you had
It's reasonable, but it makes
Turnover
it
from the
easy.
city to the county 35 years ago, so
I have 7 kids.
Yeah, we're good with that one.
I was in college.
I know we do about it.
Economic development.
That's a non-levied fund, that's,
This one's non-levied, so it's sales tax funded. That goes back to general where I was saying in and out. That's where that comes from.
yeah.
It goes to the Economic Development Board. Solid waste, spent 431 and 25. We got them at 604 and 663. They've carried over 524,000, and we're anticipating a $600,000 carryover.
No, we are getting into the funds that these do not levy taxes.
Right.
These are collections.
And that money can't go anywhere but there unless Road and Bridge does work out there.
Yeah, they collected 636 and 25. Last year, I guess we thought it was gonna go up because you increased the rates, I believe. That's right. And then we're estimating 6.4. I mean, we're staying in that range, so.
Well, we-
Again, non-levied fund, there's no taxes here.
We had some major expenditures this year.
Is
that
that
done?
the trash compactor?
Oh, yeah, that's there.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, I got
I
their
think it
last,
was back finally.
last week, I think.
And that's supposed to, you get 40% more
That's a
compaction
good
with that than you do a track loader, so the landfill will last longer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Emergency telephone, this is again non-levied fees. Took in 69,025, so we're estimating 69,700 and 70.
Yeah.
That's kind of.
And we usually zero that one out. I mean, non-levied, but they did carry over 39,000 last year. Or we're anticipating carrying over 39,000.
I think we're good with that one.
Special alcohol comes from the state. And then it's comes into this fund, and then it transfers out to some to general and then some to Parks and Recreation. This is what you were talking about, Commissioner Krug, a little bit ago. That's that money. Non-levied fund. Sheriff's drug fund. If they have a seizure, I guess. We just there's $900 in there, So he gave him $900 of authority. And that's one, if they'd have a big seizure, then you'd have to.
The state will get all the money anyways, it doesn't matter.
We usually don't get much of it.
They've made it difficult.
One time we had quite a bit in there, didn't there, Alan? Remember that, when they had that big seizure?
The state gets it all.
Parks, so got the transfer from special alcohol and then they carried over 25, we're expected, or they carried over 31 into 26. If they spend, I suppose some of that's going to the new play park, I don't know. They'd carry over 12, and then we give them the authority to spend everything.
Yeah.
Non-levied fund. Sheriff's, convention and tourism. That's money, bed tax basically that comes in from the state, non-levied fund. So we usually give them all the authority of what we're anticipating coming in. And the sheriff registration, oh, sorry, sheriff concealed carry, that's all fee-based, non-levied fund. Same way with offender registration fees. They can use.
Good question for Dan on that. What can he do with that money?
Which one is that?
The
Offender registration.
vendor registration, the concealed carry, the.
I think he used to pay for a fingerprint machine or something. It's very limited what they can do with it.
Yeah,
It's gotta be
That's what I was
something-
thinking.
I think it has to be things that are actually tied to being used for offender registration process. And the fingerprint machine they could justify.
And that has that new tech fee in there. So it should be enough by what he estimated. It should be enough for, because it goes in and then it goes back to the state.
Yeah.
That's the opioid fund. Comes from the state.
I just gave you the budget to spend.
I think he give, is that where he,
We spent nothing out of that. Since
Right.
We don't know what to do with it.
right, there's been no expenditures.
What can you do
Do
with
we
it?
have it?
It's gotta be drug related, education, things like, other things that, small towns, it's tough to figure out what to do with it.
So like, can they put programs on, like say out at the fair to help the fair out and do different things like that? Could they do things like that where,
It's drug related.
I mean, if they're doing education and
So
bringing drug dogs in or whatever and showing the kids all the stuff, couldn't they use that money for that?
Possibly. And I would have to look, I don't
You'd
know, I
have
don't
to
know on
read
that
the
one.
statute.
I see. Sure, there's a catch to it.
Sometimes statute, it's actually the settlement they had with them, it all came out of a bunch of big lawsuits.
Uh-huh.
Well, can they use it for like the sheriff's department has a booth at the fair?
Probably not, no.
They can use it for the
Just
wages.
on your booth, probably not.
Steve,
Mine did, but
Mhm.
except for there.
Possibly
No.
there, they really want to go like education to treatment, that kind of thing.
They
Yeah.
do have like the community health fair that we could incorporate something like that in with that. That's why I was asking if David was still here, but, if you wanted to use the money, that would be a way of good skills. And then you could even incorporate like the overabuse of opioids with prescription drugs. Some of our elderly tend to forget and overuse.
Maybe go for the non-budgeted funds.
Well, not much we can do with that one.
These are a little small. These are non-budgeted funds, so the only thing in here is the actual, what was actually spent in 25.
On,
There's the grant fund.
Special equipment, there's nothing done with that. The economic development loans, just the loan payments And if they make loans, the interest they got off of it. Special machinery, just the stuff that was transferred in, and if they paid anything. Landfill closing cost.
Yeah, the landfill closing, that fund was set up for if you have to close the landfill, you have post-closure and post-closure costs that you have to cover as a county. So when the fund was set up in the 90s, Alan might remember. No, I don't think you were on then.
It's been here longer than I've been here.
Well, that's
So some of the landfill fees that were collected used to go into landfill closure. Well, then the fund got big enough to where they quit putting the fees in and just let the interest. It's a CD is what it is. The one thing I noticed is we're not booking the interest in there.
Right.
That
I'm not
CD.
sure why she's not doing that.
So that 415,000, I think, was the amount the last year I did the audit.
yeah, it's been that way for 6 years. And I don't know.
So I'm gonna talk to Trish about, basically call the bank, get the balance and make the
Maybe you should
adjustment.
have the balance for that.
Yeah, and make it so it's right
I think
on your
the
ledger.
state's saying that should be almost $1 million now.
That's what we
Closure,
really
you got
need to start.
Closure plus 25 years of monitoring after you close.
Right, we need to
Well, the last one I did, I think the closure and post-closure estimate was like, I think you're right, 1.7 million.
It was pretty.
But your life of your landfill is still 75 years?
Well, it was, but we're down to
It's like 40 or
40 or
40?
something now.
Okay.
It's helped us. We got
So we
enough
really
money.
need to look at the end of the year, transfer a little
Which-
from solid waste into that.
Yeah, you could do that. I mean, it's just, you gotta be prepared if they close it.
Right.
Cause then you'd also you'd have to find a new one or do
Well, we
something.
could have or build a transfer station, which would be several million, and then the cost is gonna be astronomical. Cause then you're gonna have to truck it to Garden City or Topeka. So, yeah,
But what I'm saying is there's more in there than the 415 that's showing here. We gotta get that fixed. Basically, it's in general. I don't think that.
And that's something
all
we
the
get from,
interest goes into general. Yeah. We need to split that out.
and we get that information from Tricia.
Yeah, or to call the bank. I'll visit with her about it. And then you have the register of deeds. Some of their fees go into, it's like a special equipment fund, but tech fees. So if they need to buy computers or whatever, they can take it out of it. Some of these are non-levied funds, so these are all funded by fees. So treasurer has one, register of deeds has one, clerk has one, CVD board, this Convention and Visitors Bureau board, and economic development. Them last two probably have more activity in it than anybody. And then you have the citizen review board, animal response, that's if you got strays. And then there's your capital improvement that you put money in, if you need to build something or whatever. And there's your Hell Creek Bridge, dude. It's got 600,000 in it at the end of
This year.
yeah.
So I think now it's.
And then capital outlay for if you not just leave the equipment. So, is this the publication? So right now you're at, with the changes you made today, you'd levy 9,399,961. And that's last year go down a little bit.
For 375 more than last year.
Last year you levied 9,224,000. But you want to look, keep in mind, 25, your valuation was 114,700,000. It went up in 26, 114,900. It's back down to 114,400. You had the fluctuation, you had an increase and then you had a big drop. A lot of that's oil. Yeah. A lot of the big increases was oil, but you don't set those values, so the state does all that.
What percentage is that?
Of the valuation loss,
No, that we went, if we do this, what we went up.
4% probably, right at it. So if you went ahead with this, you'd have to have a revenue neutral rate hearing because you're exceeding the revenue neutral rate by 3 mils. Four even. So your increase was 4% over last year's levy.
Commissioners, any thoughts?
I think we've done as good as we can under the circumstances.
It keeps up with inflation. I mean,
And if we don't, in about 3 years, whoever's sitting here is gonna be in trouble.
Well, if the trend of your valuation keeps going down, then if you have another $500,000 drop
After each
in
building,
valuation
we screwed up.
in 28,
say that again, Jim?
well, if the valuation continues to drop, assessed valuation,
Right.
so you're looking at a $500,000 drop from 26 to 27. If that happens again, I mean, you have to look at that.
Yep.
Yet you have no control over it.
That's right.
No, but it's a factor when you're doing the budgets. I mean, it's how you fund the
I
budget.
mean, there may be a day in Russell County we don't have any oil. I mean, 10 years from now, we don't know what the future brings, but it could be down to
Zero. Didn't you figure one time 5% a year? Or something
Yeah,
like
they
that?
told me 4% a year.
4%.
Total production, that's what it's been going down, and that's kind of what they projected to go
So
down.
you can look at the mill levy as
Well,
budgeting for the decrease in valuation that you're sustaining.
and in
I don't know.
26, they tax in oil at $62 a barrel. And in 27, they're taxing it at $48 a barrel.
Mhm. That
So
costs
we
us
lose-
a lot of money.
So I mean, with losses over 300,000 in revenue on oil.
So this would be your county levy. Now, I suppose you want to go through fire districts.
So that's our job, I guess.
Townships and cemeteries, they have their own board, but
Right.
so Gorham Fire, right now, their revenue neutral rate is 6.8, they're at 6.3. So they're under the revenue neutral rate. They're gonna levy $113,000 in tax. Last year they levied $122,000. They'd have spending authority of $182,000, which is the same as they had in 26. So they didn't change their authority, but their valuation actually went up from 17,500,000 to 17,800,000. So with that valuation increase, that allowed them to have the same authority with less tax levied and under the revenue neutral rate. That's Gorham, Fire One. Yeah, go to the detail.
I'm good with it.
I mean, what all you guys wanna look at here? You wanna look at the publication pages, you wanna look at these? They carried over 131 into 25, 108 into 26, and we're anticipating a 57,000 if they spend it all this year. Now they may get some money from Ellis County that we didn't stick over there.
This Ellis County is ad valorem, which
And it's-
isn't factored in here. We just split it out. So this is Russell County's, and the Ellis County's ad valorem and stuff, taxes.
That come into the district.
Yeah.
So for 26 and 27, that's just combined in there, but because we don't know what it is exactly.
I think I'm good with that one, you guys.
That's fine.
Okay, let's
It's
go to
under
fire
revenue,
two. Fire two is Lucas. They're at 9.396 mils. They're under their revenue neutral rate of 11.426. They'd be levying $79,353. Last year they levied $94,000. They did have a little bit of a decrease there. They kept their expenditure authority the exact same as what they did in 26. 113,123.
Go to general.
So they carried over about 40 into 26. We're anticipating them if they spend their whole budget, 28,000 into 27. And they get, you'll see there in 25, Osborne County's taxes broke out, so you can see it. Hopefully they give us some this year. Good with that one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waldo Paradise, they're over the revenue neutral rate, 7.950. Revenue neutral's 5.9. They're gonna levy 154. Last year they levied 147. They kept their expenditure authority exactly the same in 27 as they had in 26.
You're gonna hear the same thing we heard about Gorham last year.
They carried over, you can see their cash is going down.
Yeah.
But again, this is the chief's budget, so
Well, in that area,
you guys,
Paradise area, isn't that the one that got hit pretty hard with the oil valuation was way down? That's part of that fire district.
Ready for Torrance?
I don't think we're done with Waldo.
Yeah, I don't think we wanna raise that, do we?
So, which is this the one?
This is still in Waldo.
Okay, that's Waldo. So they'll have to have a rate hearing, or you'll have to have a rate hearing for them. Good with that one?
Yeah.
Paradise, Fire three.
No, we're on Torrance.
Oh, Fire three, Fire four.
Torrance. There.
This is Dorrance. They're over the revenue neutral rate. They're gonna levy 7.3, should levy 6.9. They're gonna raise 85,000. They raised 81,000 last year. They kept their expenditure authority exactly the same, 163,000.
I think that's good.
Now this year they did spend a lot of their budget because of the truck, the fire truck.
That got wrecked.
Yeah, which they could possibly spend out of their special machinery if they had the money instead of spending it out of general. But that's up to you guys.
What do they have? Which one is that one?
Dorrance.
That's what they
They had money in.
Yeah, for some reason they wanted to take it out of their general fund.
Cause they've got
Yeah, they got
280,000, yeah.
Well, but then if they would get in trouble in their general fund, they
Yeah,
can
they can
transfer
bring it
back.
Back out.
Since they paid for that truck out of general, they could transfer back from special machinery
Right.
and reimburse it.
Fire 5.
Fire five. They're at 9.821, revenue neutral rate 8.5, so they'd have to have a hearing. They're gonna levy 169,000. Last year they levied 147,000. They had a pretty good value assessment drop from 18 million to 17 million. And they kept their expenditure authority the same for 26 and 27 at 180,000. So their increase mainly is that drop in valuation. That was a big one.
Which one was
That's five. Cash, you can see that one. That one they're going down a little bit. If they spend their whole 26 budget. Good with firepower.
Yeah, Ryan, anyway.
So
You guys.
what's left?
That's it.
I mean, do you have their special, is that what's underneath there?
Okay, this is their income, expenses,
Well, I mean, yeah,
the special machinery.
yeah, there's their special machinery fund. Fire five,
Yeah.
about 150,000.
So if Dorrance would have bought that fire truck out of special machinery instead of out of the budget, it wouldn't have changed their mill levy, right? Or would have it?
Well,
Well, that's in 26.
Oh, you're
So-
right, that's 26.
Yeah.
That's right, okay. All right.
so they would have the option in 26 if they spent that out of general. So in 26, I mean, they could move out of special equipment back into general. But that's in their 26 budget, not the 27.
So would that still affect their revenue neutral rate?
Could.
That's what I was thinking too.
They might have more cash. They'd have more cash in general carried forward if they reimburse it. So it'd drive-
If they did it out of special
Drive-
equipment.
I mean, that'd be
or
something
special
you-
machinery.
you'd have to talk to the chief. If that, I mean, I don't,
Well, I think it would make sense, wouldn't it, or not?
But that big should come out of
Yeah, I mean, it
I mean-
should.
it would help.
I mean, I
it,
think
help their budget.
that would, well, exactly. I think
But-
that should be paid out of special,
I mean,
special
that'd be a
machinery.
discussion you'd have to have with who is the fire chief in Dort.
Justin's his
Nathan,
sister.
is it Nathan Poshik? I
He
think.
might pull with Dort's special machine.
I'm gonna call for a 5-minute break.
Is that all?
I'm getting old.
How much should that cost?
Get up for a second too.
Okay, so 100 and some thousand, so they got 247 in special machines, so they could reimburse general back out of special
They could put
machine.
that back in their budget.
Yeah.
Spend it out of there would be the correct way, I would think.
Well, you would carry over some cash.
Well, yeah.
Potentially, you would carry over some cash.
Well, exactly.
And you could do that. Well, you could do it now. I mean, if they would do it. I mean, if you wanted to get them down to revenue neutral or not much left, not as much levy.
I mean, I think it makes sense to do it.
And I mean, they wouldn't have to do the whole amount. You could just do enough
Yeah,
to get them out of the,
to balance that piece.
to balance the revenue neutral rate.
Exactly. I think
Would
that,
you agree with that?
what do you think, Steve? You think that's,
But I mean, the
I
chief,
think you got a point there, but
I mean,
I
that's
mean,
my
it'd be
thought.
we just
I
need
mean-
to see why he did what he did.
yeah.
Maybe he didn't know, I don't know.
Well, that's a possibility.
Well, but they told you to spend it out of their general, right? So he directed him to take it out of the general fund, not the special equipment.
He had
So
some reason.
Go back to you wanna go back to the general
Yeah.
overall,
The overall page.
general county publication bid. Where's where you're sitting now?
Any comments from the commissioner?
So that's where we're gonna have to increase what,
375, isn't it 300?
like 4%?
Yeah, it's 4%.
Which is inflation, and you know, Duke, I don't like it.
Well, I don't either, but if we don't, we're gonna,
So if we cut it this year, hard cut, we're gonna do what the present or the past commission did, I forget how many years ago, and they raised it like 12 or 13, is that what it was?
14.
Or 14?
Because we had an
because
evaluation.
what's gonna happen in 3 years, the mills are gonna go through the roof.
Yeah, it'll be
Because
more
we're
than
gonna
14
spend all of our
mills,
cash.
because we won't have a dime in savings or cash carryover, nothing, we'll be empty.
Well, unless you can carry over more in
I'm gonna,
26 to 27 than what but I think
but where are you gonna do it at, Jim?
I don't know.
I mean, looking at it, we don't have any extra cash to carry. I mean, I really like Steph's suggestions back from, I think the first suggestions was a month ago, and the latest one was here in the last week or so. But
Well,
if
and
we
when
do
she went
that-
through that first one, that long sheet you got, I mean, she was more looking at authority.
Mhm.
So authority is one thing, you know, spending authority is one thing, and then cash carryover, valuation, you know, to get to the tax that you need to fund the budget. So it's all fact, you know.
I mean, it's like road and bridge. That's our largest department by far, and it'd be the easiest one to cut because that's when we did in the county next door when we had this problem. We cut road and bridge. Well, what did we do? We paid for it 4 years down the road because we cut them. You know, we cut them $500,000-$600,000. Then we had to make it all back up.
Almost $1 billion too again.
I know. Well, that's the thing. I mean, if we cut them,
Well, you're carrying over, but you got some things
Right, that's,
looming that.
the carryover may be spent already.
well,
just
if we
on
got
them
9 bridges, we got 192. Is that what we could?
193 bridges.
193 bridges. Well, if we got 9, we already got to fix. There's another million plus gone.
But you have to kind of project.
I mean, you got to
What
look
you
down the
think's
road.
gonna-
You got to look forward. You can't look behind us. But
And we got an idea, but we really don't know what Shell Creek Bridge is gonna cost us.
Yeah, but we're
And
pretty
I
close.
think we're good. I think we're good
That's
on that.
Pretty close.
But what we have extra levy there, or whatever word you want to use for it, is gonna have to go to other bridges that we got, or we're gonna have to start closing bridges one of these days.
and when you start closing roads or bridges, that makes everybody happy.
Well, Hell Creek is almost like an unfunded mandate.
Right.
Here's your share.
Mhm.
And we don't care where you pay for it.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
It's
give
as long
You
us
don't
as,
have you don't have a choice.
it's the longest county-owned bridge in the state of Kansas.
Probably the tallest too, huh?
I did ask the Corps when we got done with it if they would take it back, and they said no.
So it's just like that. I mean, I hate raising taxes zero, zilch, none, because I think everybody's tired of paying higher taxes. But how are you going to fund this? I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't know the answer either. I mean, obviously, out road and bridge, the past hasn't been funded the best. That's why we got a lot of super used equipment, and we're spending all the money on breakdowns. We're spending it now. We're paying for it. You know. So a bridge, do you halfway fix it or do you all the way fix it? Well, you don't have a choice. You got to fix the bridge.
Right.
After the pictures we saw last meeting, we shouldn't be even thinking about cutting road and bridges budget.
Well, and I know we could be one accident away from a heck of a lawsuit. If one of them bridges collapse of the pictures we seen, take the one on Canyon Road I think it's Canyon Road.
Yeah.
That one there, if that one would collapse, somebody drives over it. You know, we talk about $1 million. $1 million isn't going to go very far on a lawsuit that we're guilty of. We didn't fix the bridge.
Yeah.
You know, so what do you do?
We gotta pick the biggest one and fix it first.
Well, I know. We have
Can't shut
9
that
of
down.
them.
You just- One heck of a mess, cause there ain't no detours around that bridge.
No, there isn't.
I mean, so you-
30 miles.
Yeah.
I think we've done as good as we can.
So we need to vote on
Make
approving
a
this.
motion to
Do
approve
you
your,
wanna do the notice to exceed R&R today, or do you wanna do that Monday?
we don't know what Monday, we just need to vote
Well, I don't know.
to
if it
approve
matters.
this.
Well, where it comes to the individual fire departments like Dorn's, do we want to ask them before Monday's meeting if they want to make that change so they wouldn't exceed their revenue neutral rate? If they buy that truck out of special equipment versus out of the budget, then they don't exceed revenue neutral.
Possible.
Is that correct, Jim?
They're
It's
still going,
possible.
Possible.
they're still close,
But
they
the-
could be.
They're at, he said they were at 74%,
Is that with the,
but that's with the truck in it.
So I guess it's whatever you guys think on that.
And you're just thinking.
Vote on it now or vote on it later. But
All right, might as well get it over with. I mean, we're gonna do it, so.
we can ask Nathan or Stephanie or somebody could ask Nathan on that. Or
You've slept since.
Nathan Poshak, the fire chief,
Oh, yeah.
about buying that truck out of the special machine.
Approve our budget, cause
Well,
the fire department's always separate anyway.
Right.
Individual vote, so.
Yeah.
well,
So I just make a motion, we're gonna go over revenue neutral. Well, I make a motion that we go over revenue neutral and have a hearing.
Second that.
Got a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? I guess we can't approve it till we have the hearing, can we?
No, you can't approve it, you're just saying that you're gonna go over the R&R. Then do you wanna do the fire department Monday then?
Well, we can do them next.
I mean, you could do them now.
We can do them now, and if they don't go over, they don't go over.
Yeah, you
So
want
can we
go
do that in one motion?
I think all of them are going over, but Gorm, right?
Gorm's not.
up. They're all, not Gorm's not, but
The rest are.
Lucas isn't.
Gorman
No.
Lucas
Yeah,
are
Gorm and
Lucas is
Lucas.
So that's fire what?
3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5
Are going over.
or no,
So I'll make a motion that we're going over revenue neutral for fire 3, 4, and 5.
Second that.
No motion and second, any comment? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any comments from the public? Yeah, Susan, you guys got anything else?
You just have to let me know when the meeting is.
Well, nobody has, if nobody has anything else, I make a motion, we close the meeting.
Second that.
Got a motion, second, all in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Monday's not the budget hearing.
Uh,
That'll be in
Me.
August.
I wanted everybody to start out smiling.
Publication of the
I did
law.
work. I'd really been on that.
Usually it's in
Oh, well.
August.
Darn it.
I think you'll decide that Monday when you wanna have your budget meeting.
Yeah. August 20th and September 20th.
The rest is all.
You ain't getting much. That belongs to a farmer.
That's the way it's like.
You have to go over there, it's a life, you have to go over there.
Yeah, feel that.
I've never heard your name before.
Susan?
When I.
So.
Can Susan, can you send me what we're
There's
funding?
some liquid in here, that'll fix that.
Is it from
Right.
this?
My wife was with me last night.
Or did you guys see?
I want to crown and order for what?
No one cares.
You can just
That's
send
the
it
only
to
way
me.
Stanley leaves you.
Or-
No, you're
Oh.
not.
What did we end
Yeah, I
on?
am.
Not
This is-
just-
No, you're not. You know what you bought me?
Okay, so is it
32
the?
ounce jug of freaking
But that's
water.
all.
404, what is it?
Some people don't even know.
I was gonna trade her off. Made me mad.
Well, you can just send it to me
Well,
later.
don't fall.
I don't wanna make you.
What do you want, man?
Thank you.
One now.
Way well. I was talking that way.